All right, how we doing today, Professor Muhammad? We are live here on YouTube and probably some other places. I don't know if we're live on Facebook. We've been having some tech issues, but how we doing this morning, my man?
Doing good. It's been 5 hours since I've been up, so day's moving.
Right on. Do you get your? Did you work out this morning, or you went to prayer? Oh, you worked out last night though. That you worked out like at 10 p.m. last night, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's too.
I
That's
got
too
a
short in
little.
between workouts. That's way too short.
Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu got me loose and just hit the weights a little bit just to keep the blood flowing.
Sure, sure, sure. So we got several topics that we're going to get into, but first I want to I want to share kind of some I guess you'd call it breaking news. I want to talk about the Kansas City shooter at the Super Bowl rally, and some heroes who took him down. Did you hear about that, Coach?
I didn't until just a second ago. Like until you posted that, you sent that over, and honestly, I didn't know. I had, I thought it was some type of physical altercation. I didn't see the shooting. That's wild.
Yeah, he so I'm gonna block him out here. Let me see if I can add the video. So this is the best video that I've got. Where's this guy? Uh-oh, that's not what the one I want. Where is I'm gonna add him right here. Check this one out. Yep. So this is I think I gotta drag it. Wow, it's moving on me. You can kind of see him here. I'm losing the angle a little bit, but hold up. Let's start over. It's giving me an attitude here. While I get this loaded up, Coach, pretty much I'll explain what happened. But they had an active shooter at the Kansas City rally, and what had happened was two civilians. In fact, they weren't on duty. I mean, there was lots of cops there, but they actually took him down in the process. And what I noticed was that they had there was like dozens of men that he ran past that either A, didn't realize what was going on, or B, were just kind of too in shock to do anything. You want to talk about situational awareness real quick? Because I know that your head is always on a swivel.
Well, first of all, for all of our viewers, we have to put this breakdown into perspective. So, Coach David and I are like Siskel and Evert, Abbott and Costello. We should have two different opinions on the same type of video that we're going to see, or any any subject for that matter. So, and that it's good to have balance. But I don't know, I don't know, like what happened. Um, it looked like there was an active shooter in there, and you said that he was um, running by a bunch of people, and then it looked like at some point in the video somebody tackled him. So, which was good. They probably saved some lives if that guy did, had made up his mind he's going to shoot some more people. But first, I would say that is like I mean, it's a shock, and somebody to shoot innocent people in a setting like that is. I wouldn't say I would never categorize them as mentally uh, challenged or something like that. I would say that they're weak, and they are they're just a horrible human being. They're just they deserve more justice. They deserve justice the same way that they killed these people. So, like I said, I don't know exactly what happened, but as far as the situational awareness, um, for my kids, that's the first thing. That's the first and last thing I say before they walk out the door every single day. Keep your head up and look around. Um, and that's not to say that they could have. Were there any fatalities?
So I'm gonna pull. I found the YouTube video here. Let me play this clip, and you can kind of see. So this is right after. You can see him here. They hold him down. So he ran. You see the crowd that he ran past? He ran past like, dude. He ran past a bunch of people that didn't. Again, I don't know if they weren't aware of what was happening. I mean, but this is a full, and they're holding him down, and you'll see the camera pan in a second to like a dozen cops that they're not fully sure. Watch, it's going to show them over here, and that's where he fired the shots at, and they're kind of still looking to see what's going on, and then people,
Wow.
that direct him, and they finally detain him. So that is and we can talk about uh-oh we can talk about I just want to bring this up, and because there's a lot of these and I'm seeing more of them, maybe because of the people I follow. Tim Kennedy shared that one, who's obviously, founder of the Sheepdog Response, Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and a military man. But it's talking about just the responsibility I believe that men have as protectors of society, and I know you, especially with the kids and your family, and even yourself, like your posture, your head's always on a swivel. I mean, you're paying attention to what you're doing,
Yeah.
but how many people would just let something like that go by? And tackle him and hold him, because he just, people are panicking. So in a situation like that, how can you prepare yourself for that?
Well, uh, if you don't see it coming, I think that's kind of hard to do. Um, but as far as situational awareness, you kind of have to be like a little bit paranoid.
Mm.
And I don't mean that like you don't have to be paranoid in a bad way, but you have to know your surroundings and um, kind of scan everybody around you within like, a 20 or 30 feet distance, So um, that'd be very hard to prepare for something like that. And I hope we never get put in that situation. But yeah, that's really tough. But you got to keep your head up when you're walking into when you're walking into an area. Like there's a saying when you put on cologne, they shouldn't smell you when you walk in the room. They should smell you when they walk by. And the same goes with situational awareness. You want to when somebody walks into the room, you need to know every time somebody's coming in the vicinity, leaving the vicinity, and your head doesn't need to be on a swivel, but your peripheral vision is wider than a lot of people realize.
We Amanda and I we went to go see Wicked downtown on I think it was Friday or Saturday, one of
Hmm.
them. And and city life, dude, more and more city life just puts me on edge. Like, for certainly like a metropolis, like you're downtown, I'm super on edge with that. But if but even Southgate, like even the metro area, there's just, and we came back. So here we go. We came back, and then there was like a huge car accident right by the gym, Eureka and Trenton, and I'm just like, dude, like I'm just on edge. I can't really enjoy the city life like that. Are you kind of the same way, or are you a little bit more laid back? You might hide it better if I do, because even Amanda was pointing out, like, it was at Detroit Opera House, and there's a lot of people and like narrow walkways, and I'm just like, I'm just on. I see. I'm calculating all the things that could go wrong, and I don't really like it, but I'd prefer that than like you're just oblivious.
Yeah, and like there are times when I go into like group settings and like I'll use I'll use like a classroom for example, and you guys could kind of put uh, kind of put your own scenario that you might be into. If you walk into a classroom and for me, the safest place to be is uh, all the way to the left or all the way to the right, up against the wall. Like if a shooter walked into a room and they start shooting, they're probably going to hit the middle of the line. And I'm not a military expert. This is just my personal. Uh, this is how I kind of position myself when I go into places that I'm not familiar with, or places that could be a target. But I'll walk in all the way to the left, or all the way to the right, furthest away from the door. So if something ever does happen, you can see things or see people before they. You won't be the first one in their peripheral vision. So um, yeah, there's a lot of people downtown. There's a lot of, like, in those highly pedestriated city areas. There's a lot of action, and it's really hard to keep a tab on everybody, and because people blend in more when there's a lot more people. But I would classify myself as a country boy.
You, as a like an aspirational, like you prefer the country over the city.
Aspirational, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well,
If
I think a lot more people are. I think they're just sick of the bullshit. Honestly, I think they're sick of the people. People tend to be more rude in the city. I mean, it's just I'm just telling you how it is. I mean, actually made a post, kind of polling people, like, is city life, are people meaner or nicer? And everyone's like, generally speaking, people in the country, they feel a little bit more trustworthy. Like, if someone in the country, if you've got a flat tire and they pull over to help you, like, you're more likely to take that from, like, Farmer Joe than Twitch and Ricky, who pulls over, whatever. Even if the guy's nice, like, if he's like dressed nice, like, hey, can I help you? Nope, I'm good. I'm good. I don't care if I stay here for 8 hours. I don't need your help, G. They like, thanks. I got AAA or anybody else, because you just don't know. There's just too many people, and so I think a lot of people are leaning that way. As far as country life, for sure. What are you are what's your ideal country setting, and then we'll go on to the rest of the topic. What's your ideal country setting, as far as like your dream estate? What does that look like for you, just curiously?
uh, living off the land, cows and sheep on the land, chickens on the land.
Oh, you straight up want
Having
a farm. Like, you want a farm.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
a lot of
like
work.
being able to plant my own garden, some fruits and vegetables. I'm actually going to experiment this year and plant a couple apple trees and cherry trees, and kind of see how that goes. But yeah,
That's a,
that
that's
would
a
be
lot. That's a
ideal.
lot of work. Farming is like, people don't realize just how much they literally wake up. They work up, wake, and from wake up, work, and then go to bed at dark. Like, farming is it's a simple life, but it's a lot of work though too.
You
Um,
know, when I was in Palestine, and I remember something that woke me up every morning was the rooster.
the rooster.
And yeah, yeah. I don't know who it belonged to, but it was somewhere in the area. But that's a great feeling, waking up to nature like that. And so yeah, that's my ideal ideal area.
I don't think you're alone. I think a lot of people share that. So we've got on our list today injuries and reasons that you talk to people. It's really common. Oh, I used to do jujitsu. I used to do judo. I used to woulda, coulda, shoulda, but I've got this injury. And some of these injuries are like legitimate, right? Legit, like, you should never probably do any sparring again, because you're just one injury away from being paralyzed. I
Yeah,
would call those single digit percentage, like less than 10% of people who aren't training because of injuries.
yeah.
Um, they're just, I mean, that's the scenario we're talking about. The other ones are, I mean, like, I can count right now people on the team who are working off an injury. You're nursing an injury. I'm nursing an injury. Coach Greg, Coach Colin, Eli, Cody. Well, actually, Cody, I think, is healed. Mike, off the top of my head, I think Coach Jimmy's okay. Coach Jimmy Sawula is nursing an injury. So, like injuries are just, it's bad press, but it's like, it's part of the game that you're in. As far as, like, just kind of tweaks and aches and injuries, it's just part of the game. What what would you say to someone who has like they've just signed off jujitsu as something that they missed the boat on because they've got an injury like an ACL or something like that?
Yeah. You know, there's not many people who don't who say my back is hurting, I got little shoulder problem, you I got this knee, my knees bother me. I don't really know what it is. I don't know many people who don't have some existing or underlying issue that's kind of been going on. That's like a nag, you know, um, and it takes physical therapy, it takes exercise, it takes fitness, and probably some nutrition and supplementation to be 100% healthy. But most people have that. And that is an excuse for people to start working out or exercising or starting jujitsu. But the truth is, is that jujitsu, exercise, and fitness are meant to get your body healthy. So, I think everybody has like that nagging little thing, but everybody's still going to work. Everybody's still doing their responsibilities. Unless you're like completely restricted where you cannot do anything, we all have something going on. And I think that's the biggest misconception. Jujitsu and exercise and fitness are meant to take care of the injuries and cure the injuries, uh, not cause them. And typically, when you start to exercise, you just feel better.
So, so I will. Um, so I support that, Doc. I mean, I support it obviously. We talked to but then I have a question, right? So, what do you mean by jujitsu is supposed to cure the injuries when you talk to anybody, and I'm like, it's a matter of time. I'm just making up my mind. It's a matter of time before I'm going to need knee surgery or stem cell therapy or both. Like that. This is the life I've chose. I'm aware of that, right? But like you and I were messaging a couple nights ago, and I'm like, dude, make time for your health or make time for your illness. I mean, like you're going to have to make time for one. So when you say so we're 100% in agreement with that. But when you say jujitsu is supposed to cure the injuries, and someone's working off of like a pretty a slip disc or I don't know, we'll call it a hip, or I don't know, whatever people have, back on my back, what would you say to those, right? Because that could they're probably like rolling their eyes a little bit at that, just checking it off. So like how would you lobby to let's lobby to them a little bit.
So the average Joe or female has probably heard the word armbar. Okay. And it's that's probably the most common thing that somebody, if they see an armbar done, they would say, oh, that's jujitsu, right? So if you take the armbar, you're essentially straightening out a person's arm and you're putting pressure on the joint. So in order to properly do an armbar, your head has to be on the floor, right? Your head has to be on the floor. And instead of your feet on the floor, your feet are on your opponent's neck and shoulders. So you're bridging up. Okay. So that bridge stretches out your back, it activates your core, and it also works out your glutes. So just that position alone is actually good for you and it keeps you safe. It actually practices flexibility. So my answer to those people that say, that have these injuries, I would argue that the majority of people your age or my age are maybe a couple years from knee surgery anyway. Maybe I would argue that these people have underlying conditions that are going on that if they don't do anything about it, they're probably going to have it anyway. Like, I mean,
You're
both of
you're
our
you're you're
circles.
shaking the millennial world right here, Coach. Hang on a second. So you're telling like millennials. You're saying a good portion of millennials are looking at knee surgery in a few years anyway.
Well, okay, meniscus surgery. That is
Okay.
such a common surgery that people like have that in their like early 20s to early 30s. That is so common. So they go in there and they scrape that out, and it's a
Mm.
very, very common surgery. People start talking about, what, I was active or I was on my feet for years, in their 30s and their late 20s and 30s. They already know that this very common meniscus surgery is going to happen. I'm just using that as an example, but yeah, like uh, without exercise, so many people have these conditions that are going on that that's they're on the verge of like having some kind of procedure done or physical therapy. And for me, jujitsu is physical therapy. Like you stretch your entire body, neck down to your toes.
Well, and I think a lot of people. So one of our former members, he's actually young. Well, he's not a kid anymore. He's like freaking Issa's size, you know. But unfortunately, he got a pretty gnarly soccer injury. I think it was a concussion, and I saw him in like a neck brace. I was like, hope you do well. Hope you heal up. But the injury rate of traditional sports is like 7 or 8 to 1, or 7 or 8 times that of jujitsu. You know, so like you take basketball, football. I mean, I am so sore after our volleyball games at the barbecue. Like I am so sore, you know, like everything hurt, my shoulders and knees and everything. The injury rate is quite a bit higher, and it comes down to expecting the impact, right? If someone comes in for a slide tackle on soccer, I mean, you may not be expecting that or fully, ready for that angle. Football, obviously, same thing. But jujitsu, a lot of people don't understand. You can the highlights. I think highlights are cool, obviously, but I think that they're doing, because it's like you don't want to show the flow rolling, because then you'd have all these internet guys who have never trained a day in their life be like, oh, that would never work if he's resisting. Like, we're flow rolling here, dude. Like, I'm just warming up. Like, I'm this is a warm up for us, and it can be 20 or 30 minutes. So people, I don't think they realize there's different um, gears of jujitsu and which you can go. I mean, you could be fundamental. You could. I mean, we have guys guys and men and women who've been training, and they haven't done matches for like the first month of their own choice, right? Like they're like, hey, I'm not ready yet. I don't feel comfortable, and that's cool. And that was unheard of when you and I started. And it was actually mocked. Like, oh, they're not. You're not doing matches first day. Like, dude, what am I gonna do? Just be cannon fodder for your high ranks. Like, come on in and let your high ranks feel good that they're beating up the trial dude for a month. Like, let me get acclimated into this. So what are your thoughts on that, and in terms of the injury rate to common sports, and the different, we'll call it gears or tempos, that in which you can train jujitsu?
For the last 20 years, like 15, 20 years since we started jiu-jitsu, like any other sport, there's evolution. All right. So you have jiu-jitsu self-defense, and then you have sport jiu-jitsu. So the more any of us, anybody is training more, diving into this art and taking a closer look at it, see how the body reacts, see how the body needs to be positioned and strengthened in order to practice jujitsu, the better that we all get. And that's why we continue to preach, you know what? It's better if more jujitsu schools are opening up. It's better if more people are training, more people are teaching, because it's a win-win for everybody. But over the last, like I said, 15, 20 years, just that we've been around, there's been so much growth and new advances on how to train, when to train, how to use a technique, what type of techniques, how to put them all together. And this is like I said, this is a win-win for everybody. And as far as people not training, our beginners class is very, very friendly for anybody from like 18 to 80. So there's no,
Yeah.
real physical resistance. And the beauty of it is, what we've done is we take a jujitsu match and we completely break it up, and then we give them little crumbles in order to digest little pieces, and even smaller than that, little crumbles, and you get to practice jujitsu, and you get a feel of it, and you actually kind of put some of the pieces together without the stigma. Oh, jujitsu is physical, jujitsu is tough, and I don't know if I could do that. So and our advanced are are a little bit different. That's kind of the message that we've been sending out to our advanced team is, you know what, you could do a match for 5, 10, 15 minutes, but you should be able to do X amount of push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups. So, that's another example of the bar raising and incorporating different pieces of fitness to complement jujitsu, because I believe, yes, jujitsu athletes should be physically tough, not just technically.
You know what? You know one thing that stuck in my mind. That coach, our old coach Danny said to me, or he said to the class, and I was like, I don't know, it just stuck with me, dude. Like we were doing warm ups, and you remember John Wallace used to come through. I swear to you, Mo, dude, he would just like on days when he missed it because he would work out right before class. It was at Oakwood Gym. He would work out right before class, and on days he missed his workout, he was like, "Well, the class is doing it with me," and so he would have us do like the just the way. You remember his warm ups? Like I'm like, dude, like it was 45 minutes of like hit training, like abs and push-ups and calisthenics. And I remember Danny at one point, like down the road, he's like, if you can't do 30 push-ups, you can't fight. And I was at the time I was doing like 5x5s, like heavier weight. I was trying to like be like all big and jacked. And my shoulders were so stiff and like tight, I couldn't go down. I remember Dante's dad, Dino, he's like, if you can't do this, you can't fight. And I like literally like my elbows got to like right here. And I couldn't I'm like, he's like, are you kidding me? Like he was making fun of me. But to your point, I mean, like I think there's a general fitness to that as well. I know Alvarez is all about that. I mean, that's why he's been on me. I mean, he's been on me. He's been a big motivation of just like general health on the outside. You have people like yourself who stay. I mean, you work out just as much now, or pretty close to it, as you did in your 30s. Regular. You may not be pushing as much weight, but it's that constant movement to it, and I think that's an important aspect that we will get you there. It's what we always say. Jiu-jitsu will make you tough. You don't necessarily have to be tough to start, right? So,
Yeah,
what? Go ahead.
and you know what? The like, just on that statement, like, we have people, not just in our school. There are people that take jujitsu that cannot do 20 push-ups. Like, literally, if you think about that, just 20 push-ups. There are people who train and take jujitsu that cannot do 20 push-ups, and they can't do like more than 5 pull-ups. But those same people are physically, if they were in an altercation, they would definitely be able to handle themselves, and some, like, physically in a physical fight, they would be a handful. But saying that again, that is, I think, one of the ways that we've all evolved in jujitsu is we're now starting to see, okay, if I can fight and I can defend myself and I can get into these, do a tournament, get into the competition training and stuff like that, then why should I not, like, build my body up, do some push-ups, pull-ups? Why should I not lift some weight, like, incorporate that? Because the lifting weight is so much easier than learning, training jujitsu.
Do
So I think as a community, it's more, they're going hand in hand a little bit more.
do you remember James Centeno? Big James?
Yes,
Big
yes.
James. Yeah, he's not really as big of James anymore. I mean, he's probably lost certainly 120 pounds. I would imagine. And so he trains jujitsu closer to his spot. I think it might be 313. I don't know if it's West or I think it might be with Ken. I don't know, but we were just texting me, keeping in touch. He's like, and I was like, dude, you look great. Like I saw him on Facebook. It's like, you look like he's like solid. He's probably, I would say, maybe 250, 240, but like strong. And he's like, thanks, dude. No one ever told me how much easier lifting weights is than jujitsu. That's what it is. He is actually working off a legitimate injury. I think he tore his like ACL heel hooks, so he's nursing that, but he's just hitting the gym now, like squats, deadlift, compound stuff. And he looks, and he's like, it's just so much easier. He's like, it's so much easier, than lifting weights because I, the cool thing about weights, they react the same way every time. If I pick a bar up, it's always gonna go straight down. Like every
Yeah,
single time, it's not gonna try to
that's so true.
jump, leap around my neck. Like it's
That's
not gonna
true.
do that. It's not gonna go for an inverted triangle. It's not gonna try
Yeah,
like spins and flips and stuff. I pick it
yeah.
up and it's gonna go straight back down. Like
You
that
know,
every
you know,
time. It's predictable.
what's funny is James. We're talking about like I think that's about 5 years ago, right?
Yeah,
James
he trained. Yeah, it would have been 4 or 5. 4 or 5 when he trained with us. Yeah, when he just started.
James has a video. I have a couple videos of James like making videos talking about his journey, why he's training, what his goals are, and how his classes were went. And yeah, I would love to. It's great to see that he's still training and he's lost the weight because he was like I think he was close to 400 pounds.
He was something needed to happen, and I think and he would we're talking he would say this as well. I mean he would have this as well. Like he would, it was just an unhealthy weight. But now I'm telling you, man, he looks like he's got like packs and like shoulders and guns. Like it looks good, and
Wow,
people don't
good for him.
understand, if someone here's kind of my, and I think this is just a lesson we could all learn. If someone, the untrained eye, were to look at him, they would be like, oh, he's overweight, because he doesn't have a six pack, right? And he's probably
Yeah.
240, 250. But I mean, the mental discipline and the effort and the energy to lose 120 pounds, like just pick up like take a barbell and throw 245s on it, and that's about what he lost. That's what he was carrying around. Like that's like mad respect, man.
I think there's saying that we have now that I think about it, there is a lot of members who've been training like 6 months to a year
Yeah.
that needed to start getting in shape, needed to get healthy, but after they got in that like 6 month, 1 year mark, they're like, you know what? I'm starting to work out. Now I'm going to the gym before or after or working out at home, and I think it's very common that we hear people after starting jujitsu, they actually start the gym workouts because everything is so much easier after jujitsu.
It's way easier, and I was I was just thinking about the I'll get to the next topic here briefly, uh, but the quality of conversations that you have, the quality of conversations of we were just it was at Zombies one day, and I was talking to Jimmy about his workout regimen, and then Danny comes in and he's like, hey, can you tell me about that? So now there's like 4, 5, 6 of us talking about nutrition and working out and workout regimens and weights and best weight, and like it's because we're all genuinely interested in it. Like that's like way better than whatever type of bullshit you could be talking about around the water cooler. Like this will actually change and impact your quality of life and things. On that point, I want to get to the next one. I want to get to the next point of the mentality of the people who quit jujitsu. We've talked about those who stick with it and then they end up like improving other areas of their life. What about those who quit? What about those who like why would somebody quit? Why would somebody quit? And what like let's talk about that. Because that the quit rate of jujitsu is an epidemic, to say the least. So why do you think that is? Let's talk about it.
Look, if you start jujitsu and you quit, you are a quitter. And you quit, you are a quitter. And it's very important when you start jujitsu or you start an exercise program that you continue on. And maybe you signed up for a year. Maybe you know what? I'm committing to 6 months or whatever it is. If you do not continue exercising or you do not continue training for the amount of time that you agreed with you to do, then you are carrying around uh, there's going to be a weight on your shoulder that you will never get rid of until you finish that. And if you quit at one thing, you quit at everything. And yes, we're human, things come up, right? but you cannot quit something you start because it follows you in everything that you do. And that is critically important. It changes your mood, it changes your psychology. You know, it's like telling a lie and you're the only one who knows it, but it's burning you and eating you up on the inside. And fitness and jujitsu is no different. So the quitters are taking that with them. So yeah, we've invested time and money into the people who said I'm willing to make a change, but they carry that baggage with them and it will never ever leave until they finish what they started.
I'm just looking up some I'm looking up some stats here, and then I'm gonna come to the aid of the quitters, just so that they don't, go leave us a negative review or talking about hate speech or whatever.
I will say this: the people who are training and make a commitment and they follow through with their commitment, um, if you've seen them in the street, they look like normal people. If you see them at work, I would bet you 99.9999% of those people at work are an asset to their team. I would bet you those people at home are somebody who works their butt off and doing their best for their families. So what separates them from the other people is their persistence, because persistence beats skill every day of the week, and enough persistence builds skill, and that's how you have a champion.
So check this out. Check this out, Coach Muhammad. I want to pull this up, and this I was just looking up stats of people who quit and why they quit, and this is off of a jiu-jitsu website, Heavy BJJ. So it says reasons for people quitting jiu-jitsu. Oh boy, right? So the number one reason, highest reason, is injury, and then work or school, and then immediately followed by that, too difficult or intense, and then money is another one. Environment or school, toxic environment or tough culture or whatever. Location, family commitments,
What's the biggest one there?
injury by more than double, right? So by more than
That's
double.
bullshit. That's bullshit, David.
So this is this is the reasons that the quitters gave.
Okay, that's fair.
This
I'll
is no
accept
this
that.
is I mean yeah, I mean this is the reasons that they gave, right?
Yeah.
And I would say I mean I those numbers are believable. That's believable, but what, you have a lifelong injury now? So I think that's something I th- I I think coming off of that is tricky. I think coming back up. I mean, you would know from your hip injuries and things like that. If I've got like a really gnarly bad injury, like it's a mental hurdle to come back of that. But even you talk to people who quit. Like I've never talked to somebody who quit jujitsu and they're like, "Oh, it's been awesome, best decision I ever made." Like I've never talked to somebody who said that. They're like, "Oh man, I miss it.
Never.
I miss I miss it." Yeah, they're never like, "Yeah, boy am I glad boy am I glad I quit jujitsu. That sucked." Like they miss it. Yes, it's different, and even to those points, work. I think I think Western culture. I mean, we have a work centric culture, right? So like, I mean, people will leave. I was looking up stats and in real estate, and people that like they'll leave their family and everything to go take a job on the other side of the nation. Like that's like people will do that. And so I think work is it's easy to get caught up in work and miss true things like that. I know so many men um, that they've thrown themselves into work and they're not happy. They may even be making a lot of money, but now they have no hobbies and even no real fulfillment, no tribe, no community. I mean, they go to work and then they come home and they're not super happy with all that. Like that. That's all. Every one of those I could find. Like I would say with 90% accuracy. Like there is. That's a smoke screen. Those reasons or excuses for quitting are a smoke screen, and there could be a way for them to train, whether it's training at 6 a.m. Wake up early. Like, what? You go to work at 9? Okay, cool. We train at 6. Yeah, like coming up with things like that. But I don't know. I just think those are a lot of excuses, dude. I do want to add though. I'm gonna come to the aid of the quitter real quick, and my mentality on this, but I want to come to the aid of them, real quick, and it's uncharacteristic
David
fashion for me.
Fox is
I
coming
know,
to the
I know,
aid of the
I know. I
quitter.
want to come.
I
I know
mean, you're,
it's very
you are the
unconventional
hammer.
of me. I know, I know. It's very unconventional of me. Um. So, but what, coach? What if I trained for 2 years and I got my blue belt, right? And I got my blue belt and it doesn't, I'm okay. I feel I can defend myself. I'm in good shape because we have these guys. I just want to pursue other things. I want to start playing pickleball. I just kind of want, or I want to travel a little bit more with the family, or, my wife would want me to spend more time with her. Um, or it just doesn't interest me anymore. I've completely lost interest in jujitsu. I mean, that's another one. Like what would you say to that? Like there, and let's call it purple. Let's say a purple belt quits and they're like, dude, I'm just over it, man. I'm just over it. Like I'm just, it's kind of boring. I'm good. I can hold my own in a self-defense scenario. Now I'm just into like working out. Like I've lost interest. Are we calling that purple belt a quitter? Because he's just lost interest and doesn't want to pursue it anymore.
No.
So I think and my I think you hit it, you said it, but I want to reiterate it so that the viewers understand. If you signed up, if you commit the period for which you signed up for and achieve the goal for which you enrolled for, then mission accomplished. When I signed up for jiu-jitsu, my goal was to get a black belt. That was it. And I knew damn well it would take over a decade. I was like, whatever. This is just now a lifestyle, and it's just crazy to me how people will not. I mean, we live in, again, I'm hating on Western culture, but we live in like a taste test society. Like, oh, I'm gonna play soccer for 6 weeks, and then I'm gonna do flag football for 6 weeks, and then I'm gonna do gymnastics. So what you have is you have exposure to a bunch of shit, but you're not competent at anything. Like you're not competent and like skilled at anything. And when you do commit to something, you're called obsessive. You're called a maniac. You're called unbalanced. You're called things like that. And to me, if we're just kind of compare apples to oranges here, why would I why would I want to be like go all in on kicking a ball across a grass field when a self-defense martial art seems like that is something I will need to know my entire life. There was never a situation in which I'll need to know that the soccer aspect, so that's my stance to it. What you sign up for, and I think the people who make it the longest realize it's not just the ones who quit are the ones who are like, oh, I'm just bored, dude. Single guys, fresh out of college, looking for something to do. I'm bored. Like, okay, high
Yeah.
likelihood of chance you won't make it 7 months. High
Yeah.
likelihood.
I don't think like those examples. I wouldn't call those people quitters. Um, like your goal was to get a black belt when you enroll when you started. Like wherever or wherever that happened, that was the goal. You achieved your goal. If you quit jujitsu tomorrow and you just said, you know what, I'm done. I achieved my goal and some, then mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Everybody's goal is a little bit differently. Like my goal when I first started is I just wanted to get better. And I had this obsession. I just wanted to get better and I wanted more knowledge. I just wanted to learn. That the word learn, I was obsessed with it. And I still, that for me is still driving me today because the more I learn, the more I realize I need to learn a little bit more.
Mm,
And somebody might say, I want to learn to defend myself. And I don't think you can put a color on it. Sometimes it's really like sometimes it could be blue, sometimes it could be purple, but everybody will get to a point where they're like, they know that if something happens, like they do this every day for a living, 3 times a week or whatever, and they can defend themselves. I was training with somebody a few years back, and they were a substitute teacher. and they were a brown belt at the time.
Mm,
And this person, like a kid, was disruptive in the class, and then a kid went to attack the school teacher, and he was a brown belt at the time.
wow.
And I'll never forget. He told me, he's like, you know what? I've never in my life gotten to a fight outside of jujitsu, but and I never expected how quick and how fast my reflexes worked because I sprawled, I shut them down, I flattened them out, and I got knee on belly or whatever. And he's like, I didn't even expect it was going to happen, but my
Mm.
reflexes happened like so quickly. So, it could be a year or two. It might even be 6 months of training where you're like, you know what? I kind of got what I need because I was attacked in a certain way or in a certain position, and I really didn't know what to do. I had no idea. And if, whatever amount of time that takes you and you accomplish it, then you're a winner. But if you quit before you accomplish your goal, then you're a quitter.
I've got a hang on. Gotta find it. I've got a couple. Amanda got me a Christmas gift a few years back, and it's got like it's a rocket book. They're not paying me anything to shout them out, but it's got like goal setting stuff in it, and part of it is there's a lot of psychology behind it, and it says what are your goals, planning weekly, quarterly, goal, annual, and then what are some hurdles you can expect along the way, and then how will you respond to these? What are things that could get in the way of this? And so there's like fitness stuff, and there's business goals, there's competition goals, there's so I have that stuff. And what are some things that could get in the way? And on there, I have injury, I have weather. Weather will affect my running goals, and just being honest with yourself. And these are things that they're just not talked about. I mean, like, goal setting is just not talked about nearly. There should be like the first month or quarter of every school year should be like, or maybe not quarter, but the first month for sure should be committed to like goal setting, recalibrating yourself with it, and making it so common. Less than 1% of the population actually writes down their goals. Less than 1%. And there's power in that, of actually physically writing it down, whether it's dry erase or paper, or I'm not a fan of the digital. I feel like it doesn't have the same impact, but I think there's a point to that. Do I know? You got to tell me after the show. Do I know who that brown belt is? I'm trying to think of a substitute teacher brown belt.
You might.
Okay, yeah. So did he still have a job after after the fact? Curiously.
Yeah, yeah. I think the kid attacked him, and he responded, and
Oh, cool.
like kid was
Good.
suspended.
That makes
But
me that makes me feel better.
yeah, in jujitsu, in our program and our curriculum, what we teach is two things. For the public to understand, psychology and mechanics. The mechanics are, like writing it down on paper, specifically what to do. Like you can actually read it and say, okay, you do move A, B, and C. You put your hand here, your foot here, and things like that. The psychology is, if I want to grab a person's right hand, then I give him something to for his right hand to grab. The psychology is why we do it and how it affects like what we think about the training, how we feel about the training, why we're doing the training, and what a tough match or a tough training session or just a tough stretching session, what does that mean to us? Like the psychology of jiu-jitsu is when you leave the gym sweaty and like worked out, interpreting that as what? I can't do this, or I relieve stress. I can't do this, or you know what? I feel better about myself because I got through another class. So the psychology and mechanics, combining those two in our kids and our adult curriculum, is what has shown so many kids and adults they've gotten so much better in such a fast time because that we all learn, we're teaching what you're doing and why you're doing it, and giving them a definition of what that means.
So I think do we have time, Coach? We got time for the one last question, or you want
We
you
could
want to
try.
save it for next week? So next on our topic we have here is how much should you be paying for jujitsu classes? What's the sweet spot? What's the average? And what's the sweet? How much should you be paying for jiu-jitsu classes? So let's open
Well,
that up.
let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What is one area outside of like health and fitness
Okay.
that you pay, like you actually pay more money for? And what is one other area outside of like health and fitness that you don't find value in it? You pay the cheapest amount that you don't mind paying like a cheap price for this product, service, or clothing or whatever.
What's an area that I will spend more money on?
Yes. What's the area that you'll pay more
Airfare.
money?
Airfare.
Airfare.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't go cheap on airfare anymore.
Okay. So
I
what's it?
also go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I also I don't go cheap on airfare. I don't go cheap on I really don't go cheap on car parts. Um yeah, I for damn sure for damn sure don't go cheap on builders or tradesmen. Like, man, you want to make like the most expensive decision of your life, like go with a cheap tradesman, go with a cheap builder, go with the cheapest bid. like I for damn sure don't do that. Areas where I do go the cheapest, or where I will spend is like I would say like I would say like usually like electronics, electronic accessories, I think just gimbals or like tripods or things like that. Like those can range there can be an 800% swing in price. And I don't think those, I tend to go a little bit cheaper on that. How about you?
So, like one area where I will spend is on my feet. So I like Echo brand shoes,
I've
and they're
heard a
usually
lot about Echo brand shoes, a lot about those. Yeah.
yeah. So I like those. They're comfortable, and they're usually a little bit more than other like casual shoes, and they even have like kind of everyday shoes or running shoes, and even dress shoes. So the minimum you're going to pay is $150 minimum. And so I don't mind paying extra money on my feet.
Alan
Somewhere,
says never go cheap on shoes or a mattress. Yeah, I never thought
yeah,
about that.
yeah. So I used to be an expensive mattress guy, but I learned, for me personally, I just
Yeah.
learned that I can get the job done for a fraction of the price.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do not spend extra money on jeans.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
if
Oh, I
I,
don't spend a lot on clothes, if you can't
yeah,
tell.
yeah, yeah, my, like if I get a pair of like 15, $20 jeans or 30, and they're comfortable, then like that's like a win for me. So those are areas that we both do not spend and do not spend extra money. What are areas that are should be a non-negotiable for everybody to get the best, and why?
So I think for sure when it comes to like medical and healthcare and medical healthcare and I'll hold to I'll hold to it construction, mechanics, like and to reiterate, the most expensive mechanic isn't always the best, but the cheapest is usually the worst, like almost
Right.
every time guaranteed, right? So but I think healthcare, like when you're dealing with healthcare, you want someone competent who knows what they're doing, who's not gonna. I mean, I have just heard, with Amanda being a nurse and being around people like Mindy, hearing horror stories of just people who really shouldn't have any license to perform medicine.
Yeah.
Just botched surgeries. I've got a client right now. She's got a 6 by 10 inch hole in her back from in an open incision from a doctor who just decided to shave her tailbone just because there is a little sharp. So we're just gonna sand it down. Jacked it up, right? So it got infected, almost went septic, the whole nine. So um, I wouldn't go cheap on that. And I would say when it comes to child, like people working with and around my children, I in fact I would almost say I will spend more on that than I would on myself. I would tend to, like I will, in fact, not tend to, I for damn sure do. Like I will spend more, I spend way more on things to keep my kids safe and healthy than I do myself. In a lot of different areas, from schooling to car seats to medicine to a lot of that. So, how how about you,
Yeah, so like, getting back to where this question was, how much should you be paying for jujitsu?
Coach?
And
I'm
what's
gonna
the
put.
sweet
Are you on why? Are you're getting a little, your signal's a little fuzzy. My signal's good. Are you on Wi-Fi? Like you have a good strong internet connection before we continue?
it, look, it looks like I got a very strong connection.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I
Then we're
do
good.
see it a little fuzzy right now.
Yeah.
So,
You're
am I
good. You're
good to
good. So you said how much should you be paying for jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, like what's the sweet spot for jujitsu? And I think that when you're looking at starting jujitsu, and not really comparing other schools, one school to another, but you got to educate yourself on what it is that you need and you want. And I think that you have to clearly identify what your need and want is. And if whatever your need and want is matches up with that jujitsu academy or affiliation, then it becomes easier to say, okay, I can't really put a price on it. Obviously, our pricing at Metro Jiu Jitsu is the same or cheaper than many other places in the area. But if you find what you need and want to solve your problem, there shouldn't be a price on it. And again, like I think the average jiu-jitsu school is like, maybe some places in California are charging like $300 a month. Some of our programs were actually, half of that. But if you have a real problem, then and the problem is poking at you, and the problem is affecting your life, your personal life, your social life, your professional career, then it's very unfair to yourself to put a price tag on that and say I'm not going to do it because literally, you know, a cup of coffee a day. And I think you were talking to somebody the other day who's like they didn't want to enroll, and you're like, well, dude, you're spending $10 a day on
He
cigarettes. Like,
smoked 2 packs a
there,
day. Yeah, he smokes
yeah,
2 packs a day
there's
in cigarettes.
there's two memberships for you right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think the sweet spot, like I said, is the sweet spot is the same everywhere you go. It's between like 150 and 250 a month. But what's more important is just finding the right place and making a decision, and not letting that couple dollars get in the way, because I think everybody just we all make little purchases here and there. I paid $5 for this today.
I will
$5 for
also,
this
that's another area that I will say, that's another area I tend to go cheap on.
water.
Is water. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would have a, personally, I'd have a hard time paying $5 for that water. But I
And,
know you can feel, you feel a difference in the alkaline water. Yeah.
and you know what? And that's the thing. You have certain areas where you have a non-negotiable about spending extra money. Like you have bought in those Yeti coffee mugs.
Um, Amanda has bought,
Okay.
Amanda, like if I, there is no less than 20 stainless thermos cantinas in our thing right now, ranging from Yeti to Stanley to Target brand to like it's to the point now where if she buys one, I tell her you have to throw another one away. Like you're that's the rule. So, but yeah, she's bought a lot. Yep.
So Nancy has gotten me like these shaker cups. We got them from GNC, or she picked them up like the bigger ones, and I always lose them. So I'm like, you know what? To me, it
Mm,
makes more sense. We went to Walmart, and when I make my smoothies in the morning, we bought a whole box, a big box of disposable cups with a lid and
mm-hmm.
a tall straw. For me, there's more value in that. But
Of
you see
course.
value in having the cups, and you're gonna keep track of them and wash them, and not let them roll all over your car. But it is the amount of value that you place, but what the important thing is to use whatever we're talking about here, the membership, the cup, the shake, to get to your goal. And as long as you have as long as you have the psychology correct, which is you made up your mind, it doesn't matter, if you're paying 150 or 250. What matters is you start and you make a commitment and you follow through. Not for the rest of your life. Start out for a year.
So we one of my favorite phrases that was turned on to me by a coach of ours, and it was investment equals commitment. And when you and the larger the investment, typically the larger the commitment from you. So and we've made we've made some very large commitments, investments in the past, and but they required an immense amount of work on our part. I think if you look at the Planet Fitness model, it's $10 a month. It's a little investment, dude. Their
Yeah.
entire business model is contingent upon you not showing up and not meeting your goals. And they're going to go so far as to continue to reward poor behavior by giving you pizza every Friday or whenever they do it. So that you lose the weight, or you don't lose the weight, and you get disgruntled, and then you're like, I don't want to go, but it's only $10 a month, and you won't even leave the house to go in to cancel your membership for $10 a month. That's why they have 20,000 members per location, when the fire code will handle 200 in the building, right? Their entire business model is contingent upon you not meeting your goals. They are quite literally banking off of your failure. Like that, that's like not even a secret, right? But it's cheap. Yeah, it's cheap. And then now you go the next tier up, right? We'll do like a Crunch in LA Fitness. I think there might be 40 or $50 a month. Those are nicer gyms, right? Those are a little bit nicer. They greet you by name. And then but what they've done is open their doors to you and say, there you go get it. And then, oh, you want us to get involved? Oh, well, that's going to be extra. Oh, you want a group class? That's going to be extra. Oh, you want a 6-week personal training session? That'll be $9.99 plus tax, and we only have 6 a.m.s available. And so that's what they get into. And then now you take it, up, and so you follow this through. So now it's where what can you afford? Because there is an affordability to it, right? What can you afford? What can you actually commit to? What schedule can you make? And do I trust that the coaches can help me reach those goals? And I'll add a fourth one is, do I get along with the team? Because one of the quit categories was the gym culture. And I know the exact gym culture that would make people quit. It's a culty, douchey gym culture in which like the high ranks are the cool kids and the white belts are the fodder for them. Like I know it well, So that is that those are decisions and questions to be asked. And I would put this in. I mean, we're the only gym, to my knowledge, that has a 6-month money back guarantee on every single program we offer. Literally, you come in, you train for 6 months, you show up, you do your part, you show up, and you're not happy, full refund, no questions asked. That's on our website. Like we're the only academy that does that, to my knowledge. And so we're quite literally banking on your success. We need you to succeed. And so like these are things to consider, but and when I see this so regular because people, I'm friendly, I'm on Facebook, I'm on socials, and I see people who will come in, I'll send them a friend request, or they'll quit, and then I see the new truck, the new $40,000 truck that they bought, where the payments are $800 a month, and they quit because of money, or they come in and they're like, yeah, and they're going out and I see them out at a Taylor Swift concert, or they're out on a Friday night with drinks all around at $14 a pop. Like I see those things and I was like, all right, so you've just made a decision that is more important than your self-defense and your fitness and your what you came in for, and that they just make that decision in their mind. So like that's a long-winded convo of saying, like of value. That's a value proposition, and what you're getting for that value. And so, investment equals commitment on that standpoint.
Yeah, I think you have a good point there in saying that we're banking on your success. And I think, the average Joe knows the business model of Planet Fitness, and it's $10 a month. And I don't know, I've never met a person who kind of lets it ride out for a while and they're not going because it's only $10. But yeah, jujitsu is, we were banking on you succeeding, and we're incentivizing people to train, to use the gym. So it's very simple. All you got to do is show up, and then we have a very clear roadmap set for you. And we can hold your hand and walk you through it, or you can kind of walk on it alone. It's very simple. You just have to, make the decision and step out of your comfort zone. There's we've had so many people. We have hundreds and hundreds of views that are not logged in, that people approach us and message us and say, hey, when you're talking about this subject on a podcast or that
Mm,
subject,
yeah.
you know what do you call those, like secret
Stalkers,
views?
social stalkers. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I get it, but there comes a point when you're investing your time and your energy into watching these videos. All you got to do is step out and just say, I'm ready. And it's really no different than starting a membership at anywhere else. Like, you have a basically a personal trainer or a group of personal trainers around you to help you train, to help keep you motivated. And yeah, like, it's really never been easier in the world of jujitsu than today.
I was also, I want to kind of add this. I was thinking about this. The greater the level of accountability, the the more you can expect to pay. I know I think of cuz I follow some fitness guys, and they've got like there are personal fitness coaches who will charge 3-4 thousand a month for like high performers, but like these guys are knocking on your door. They're literally coming to your home at 4 a.m. like pulling your ass out of bed. And it's like, sorry, like it's not optional. You ever read the book by Jesse? I can't remember his name. But Living with a Seal.
No, I haven't.
Dude, you would like that. But Jesse, it's not Jesse Pinkman. It's not Jesse. It's Jesse Itzler. Jesse Itzler. And yeah, he like pretty much like he just saw us Navy SEAL and contracted him to come like work with him. And I forget what he paid or something, but it was like the more the accountability, the more you can expect to pay, because it's the greater that you're going to get what you pay for, right? Like it's not possible if I'm sorry, I will be at your home at 4 a.m. If you don't answer, I will kick your door in. There's a level of accountability there, right? Like versus, like if you don't show up, we track people's class attendance. If you don't show up, you're gonna get a call or a text from us. Like, yo, what's up? Where you at? If you don't check in, you're still gonna get a call or a text from us, right? Like so, like it's like, oh, okay, I know they're checking on me, and we check those. It was not David Goggins. No, it was not James. It was it was it I don't think it was. Was that? Hang on, hold up. Was that the Navy SEAL that Jesse Itzler hired? No way. I got to look this up now. Hang on. All right. So the greater the let's talk about accountability. I got to look that up. There's no way that was David Goggins. I got to find it out now. But let's talk about accountability for a second, Coach, while I look this up.
Yeah, accountability is having a group of people just like you, just and we have our private Facebook groups, and there's a lot of like friendships that are formed in jujitsu. And it's nice to get that text from one of your training partners, or friend that you've made. Are you training today? And sometimes just that question: Are you going to the gym today? Are you training today? Or sometimes that alone helps kind of keep you part of the group, a group, accountable group that say, what, I don't want to let them down, or what, I'm going to feel like I missed something, or what, I like training with this guy, or that girl or something. So that makes a big difference, having people around that you're seeing and connecting with every single day that are kind of on that same route as you.
Yo, it was David Goggins. That's crazy. Yeah, because in the book he left him anonymous and he intentionally didn't name. That is so wild. Oh, I need to reread that book now, knowing that it's David Goggins. That adds a whole new. Wow, I didn't realize that was David Goggins. That's awesome. I got distracted. My ADD was kicking in. I won't be able to get that out of my head now. That's crazy, dude. Can you imagine David Goggins? Like you're hiring David Goggins to come live with you for like 90 days, and like I would not. I would bitch out. I'm not doing that. I'm not waking up to run 5 miles and like do random burpee tests in the middle of the day. Like it would be like you're sitting down right now, and David's in the corner, and he would just be like burpee test, mother effer, and you'd have to do like 40 burpees. Like, and you're just like that's literally what he was doing. He did a blog of it and everything. Like, that's crazy, dude. I got distracted. I'm sorry. We have run well over time. But we covered a lot of good topics, and so if you guys following us, we've had some tech issues. This is on YouTube. We'll repost it to our socials, Facebook pages, and whatnot. Please, wherever you see it, like, follow, subscribe, share with your friends. Comments, that all those things help us get more views, bring more awareness to jiu-jitsu, and help get us found. So as always, guys, we'll see you on the mats.